So today we are going to talk on something very interesting, which is called as de-risking digital transformation, especially when we are all into a digital transformation spree and we are talking about, uh, a lot of engagements with fintech, a lot of engagements in open API, open banking, and with lot of data deluge that is happening all over the organizations today. While there is a lot of opportunity, there is also a lot of risk. So how are we trying to mitigate the risk, control the risk, and at the same time create opportunities out of these kind of engagements that we are doing? And we have a very good mix today of IT heads, digital heads and business heads put together to share with us this conversation. Great. So what we will do is we will start from Suresh. Just one line introduction of everyone and what you do, just a one liner, and then we will quickly get on with the questions and then we will have this conversation.
This is Suresh. I'm from Tata AG General Insurance. I've been with them since its inception. It's almost 22 years now. So I'd seen it evolve, from the management by the overseas guys to the Tatas now. It's a great journey. Right? That's briefly about myself. Before Tata AG, I was with the proper hardcore IT guy for around 14 years. So it's a long time.
Hi everyone, good morning. So I'm Kalyani Singh. I'm from ICICI Securities and I've been part of ICICI for the last 15 years.
Wow.
So kind of born and brought up in ICICI. And so currently I'm part of their digital innovation strategy team. It's been like last 4 years been associated with this team. Otherwise I was on the education side of the business, equity market. So that's about me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sumant Panda. I'm GM in State Bank of India, handling data and intelligence areas and analytics. I've been a career banker, joined as professional officer way back in 91, and handling the IT areas since 2016. So it's a 6 years IT experience for me, and I was handling the mobile banking area and now data and analytics area. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome, Sam.
Good morning, everyone. This is Sonali. I'm Sonali Subudhi. I'm heading the data, AI, and ML part in IDBI Bank. So I'll not say I'm in with IDBI since its inception, but I'm with the analytics team since inception.
Wow.
So more than 3 years. So it was a mandate from Ministry of Finance to establish a analytics team all banks, and I somehow got opportunity to establish that. So it is more than 3 years. So yes, so I'm taking care of data analytics, AI, ML, and also data warehousing as well.
Welcome, Sonali.
Thank you
welcome
so much.
Good morning, everyone. Myself is Vinodhan. I'm part of Bank of India last 15 years. Sir. So right now I'm looking after digital lending, data like implementation, data warehousing. Previously I was in charge of data center of Bank of India foreign centers and RRBs. So.
Welcome, Vinodhan.
Hi, my name is Avik. I work with HDFC where I take care of some digital initiatives around digital business and conversational AI. Parallelly, I also take care of another a portfolio for analytics and digital banking. So have been with HDFC for last 8-9 months. Prior to that, I was with Axis, where I was heading the digital innovation and platform engineering for the lending business.
Welcome, Avik.
Morning, everyone.
Good
My
morning.
name is Amit Taplial. I'm a part of the Manipal Cigna Health Insurance Group, one of the founding members. Prior to Manipal Cigna, I was also a founding member for the AXA Group in India. Spent 6 years, and this is my 10th year in Manipal Cigna. In Manipal Cigna, I am a part of the technology team. We just launched, happy to inform, we just went live with the data lake project.
Wow.
So when I actually got a write-up from Banking Frontiers on the importance of modern data, I thought this is a good session where I should be a part and also learn. Thanks.
My name is Vijay Vasudevan. I'm from Tata Motor Finance. I head digital in Tata Motor Finance. I'm a business leader. I have 22 years of experience in business. So right from executive level in Sundaram Finance, I've worked in various companies like HDFC, Citibank, HSBC, Dhanlakshmi, and now in Tata Motor Finance. So my IT experience is only last 2 years. So I used to head a department called Business Center of Excellence. Now I head IT.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome.
Hi, good morning all. My name is Prasanna Lohar. I work for DCB Bank. I'm in banking since last almost 8 years. Before that, I was other side of the story, serving all the banks in India, outside of India. So different journey. So I take care of all the digital deliveries, digital banking of the bank, and the innovation across all the units as a chief innovation officer. And I take care of all the architecture of the bank. So all the 150 plus application, how they are talking to each other within bank and outside of the bank. So interesting role. So look forward to learn during this session around modern data management. Thank you, Babu, and everybody for inviting me.
Thanks a lot, Prasanna. Thanks. And let us have Anshuman also share.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Anshuman Rai. I'm country manager for Comvault. 25 years in the industry, tech as well as sales. Been associated with a lot of BFSI projects. So while may not have interacted with you individually, but every of the people who are sitting here, your organizations, I have had some interaction or the other. So that's my experience.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anshuman. So I thought that to start off with the conversation and the discussion, we are all working in a world of data, and data is the foundation of everything that we have been doing. Now, what has been very common to everybody, the conventional things everyone has done when it comes to data protection, when it comes to data migration and everything, the hygiene factors all of us have, most of us, or we cannot do it without the hygiene factors as per the regulators and compliance. Now, moving ahead with this, in spite of all the existing conventional hygiene factors, we still have a lot of difficulties that we face on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to data. So, what are those interesting and out of the box emerging issues that we face today? If some of us can share, then from there we will build upon where do we go next. So, can some friends of ours from the CIO fraternity and the digital fraternity share this input? Suresh, why don't you start something? Yeah.
I mean, as we all are experiencing in the last few years, especially the last 2 years, when things were all offline, the data volume has been growing. We know about the various V's of data. So in the insurance sector, if you see, our entire business revolves on how best we can analyze data and see patterns in it. So the volume is phenomenally grown. So now to manage the volume, you need to have technology around it to be able to manage the data in a very sensible fashion. Like we had implemented data lake, we also implemented data lake, on our. So if you see, it has come probably in my view quite late in the day, because the data lake as a technology itself is slowly fading away, and we are just implementing it. We're talking of fabrics. We had concept during those days when we had disparate systems, and especially I can talk from an insurance standpoint. We used to have health business, travel business, property, which on the commercial end side, motor, each requiring different type of data, different type of analytics. So there was a challenge to be able to produce these data for the business on time, accurately, quickly. So we had solutions which were all standalone, disparate. So from there we said that look, there should be one version of truth. We should have a single source of data. So we moved to data lake, or kind of solutions where we brought everything to central. Now having come to a central place, we are again back to a challenge of saying how do you extract it when you want it on time quickly. So we have been the same vendors who advised us these things some time back are saying, sir, up centrally, maybe that's not a good idea. We might have to do it individually because the needs are different. So briefly, these are some points I just want to give the opening comment.
Interesting. Let's look from the banking side. Panda sir, what do you say?
Requirement of analytics came not very long ago. Although SBI has its analytics department set up in 2013, but really it was not machine learning based, and it's kind of descriptive analytics to find out what is the things we are dealing with. But with that also, we developed one model that's basically rule-based model, and that was the first pre-approved business model. So we identified the customers, and that led to a model called pre-approved personal loan. We call it PAPL. So that is the first foray into this identifying the customer for a pre-approved loan, and in fact that has been very successful for bank. And the model, I think it was rolled out sometimes in end 2017 and perhaps 2018. It was stabilized, and with that 4 years with this model, and bank has generated around 55,000 crores of business out of the single model.
Wow.
So that has prompted the bank to do more analytics, and in fact, we have been using machine learning models for last say 3 years, and it has been a roller coaster ride. So new things are coming up. Mostly we have the structured data. Unstructured data, perhaps we have just now touching, and there are a lot of things to do. So those data perhaps lying in various disparate systems, not being utilized.
Wonderful.
How to utilize that? That's the area. Whether it is the customer calls at the contact center, or whether the stream analytics or the logs. Perhaps many things we have not yet touched. So a lot of things to do. So bank has started its journey, and it is, I guess, may not be very fast. Other private sector organizations worldwide, people have moved ahead, but we are also trying to catch up.
Interesting, sir. Vijay, you have been from NBFC, so I thought let me take one insurer, one banker, and one NBFC now. So from your side, you can share.
What we face is, two kind of data challenge. Availability of right data at the right time to the right people is one challenge, and availability of excess data to a person who is not eligible also, there is a two type of challenge. Especially after pandemic, we have started working from home. Certain set of people moved from fully working from home, where they are now using their private Wi-Fi and started using our application. So how to prevent that? So that's where we are planning to move to a complete DLP, or from a virtual desktop model to prevent the data leakage. Now, other side, non-availability of data, the right people at the right time, because if we give the right data at the right time, I'll tell you one small example. Yesterday, I got a call from an insurance company, not from you, from an insurance from an insurance company. Sir, your policy is getting elapsed next month, so can I renew? For the car I sold 4 years back. So see, that's what I was trying to tell. The right set of data, right set of information available for the right set of people, that's more important. So these are the two different issues I see from a data point of view to grow the business.
Is there anything else that anybody wants to add? Any good pain point? Sonali?
So Panda sir just mentioned about PAPL. So I'm talking from banking perspective. So it is not only, it is like we are always capturing the high-end customers, or maybe where we can reap money. I'll give you an example. During pandemic time, just before that, we did a micro segmentation of our customer. Like the customer base we had, we did a 750 micro segmentation. It sounds big, but we did that. So and we had given name to different segments. So there was one segment. It was a low value youth. If you hear this name, it is of interest of none. I mean, or low value and a youth, they might not have started working, or just started working, something like that, or maybe not a very high salary. So we started pitching them paperless, I'll not say personal loan, or low ticket size, like buying a mobile or a laptop or tab. And during pandemic time, it was the biggest use in everyone's family. Everyone used to have 2, 3 at their home, like laptops you can consider. So whatever we have, analyzed before the launch of this campaign, we actually generated more than 3 times of the volume, like both financially and new customer wise. So micro segmentation, I'm just touching upon one point, is it's a very simplest way of doing any analysis, the basic analysis of a customer base. So this kind of segmentation, not only we target the very high affluent customer, also the customer who are like you generally don't bother to pay attention. We get lots of revenue out of them, and also new customers. We generate new customer out of them. So yeah, so these kind of analysis we are doing. I'll just take a step back. Actually, why it is a need right now in banking sector, financial sector? So need for real time, like gone are those days, like I remember a couple of years back, we used to send money to our relatives, or maybe from one account to other account. So we used to wait for one day at least to check whether the money has transferred or not. But right now we are shifting our screen to see whether I have sent from HDFC, it has moved to IDBI, or vice versa or not. So we are that impatient. So the need for real time, I can say. Second is interconnected ecosystem. If I put it correctly, interconnected ecosystem. I think in our family, or we every other day, maybe at least in a week or twice in a week, we are buying something from the Amazon, Flipkart. I'm just taking a bigger name, maybe other like retail giants. So we want our bank to be there, silently present, and do our transaction. So, and it is forcing our bank to be there in their site. So interconnected ecosystem is really, really important at this point of time. A third, I can say, a seamless banking, not only retail. We are doing lots of, let's know, buying a FD, or maybe doing something. On the midnight, you are creating your FD, or buying maybe your insurance policy, something like that. So we want our bank to be there, and we don't realize bank is there. And if it is not working, we have a problem. But we want that seamless banking, that as invisible as possible, but do their work. So I can just take, this three, like interconnected ecosystem, seamless banking, and obviously need for real time. For all this purpose, we really need a proper, data strategy to take it forward and bridge.
Wonderful. Yeah, that is something that I wanted to come out of this conversation. Now, I have seen in the last 2-3 years, several, even the topmost private sector banks having some wonderful cloud mapping strategies, because that is their way of de-risking themselves in a world of cloud. So when organizations are mapping themselves against the to use the cloud, what are those critical actionable points to be kept in mind, which has to be definitely considered? If some of you who have done this work can share with us, it would definitely be helpful.
Now, at least basis my experience on various data lake, data warehouse, and the ODS projects, one of the fundamental that I have understood after having conversation with business folks is one, in the quest to get consolidated data, we get enough data. And very soon, the data lake actually turns out to be a data swamp, where there is so much of data that the project owners itself can't figure out why there is so much of data, and we ourselves get confused. Now, why the level of confidence of business guys are so low is in their past experiences, and since business guys are not to the speed of understanding that typically with the latest technology trends in data, the data golden source, data hygiene, the data stewards rule, and then the data getting represented to business has reached a maturity level. Now, because of their past instances where they got a dashboard from a tech guy only to realize that one of their junior most guy came with an Excel and a pivot which showed a very different figure, so their confidence is actually low. But having said that, I think it's high time, at least for the technology world, to make the business guys owners for these projects so that they get the insight and they are more confident than the technology guys. This is one point which I wanted to share across.
Interesting. So let's talk to Kalyani. Kalyani, what is your thought when it comes to mapping a cloud specific strategy for any organization, because I think you have also been working into this area, especially from the innovations perspective. What is it that you have to share?
Yes, so I think we all know that data is the most important asset of any organization. Thus, the data security and privacy, it becomes like a heart of the cyber security strategies. You know, even the when we have movement, data movement on the cloud also. So to enable a seamless business recovery and develop a safe post-COVID data-centric economy, one needs to be, that situational awareness, and for a faster theft detection and recovery response is one of the most important thing. And I mean, like, especially in the age of work from anywhere, we as business leaders need to realign our security priorities to meet the, risk associated with sensitive information, which can be managed, by, the way we are doing it, investing in modernization of security infrastructure, and performing regular risk assessment, and all those things. So seeing that, the biggest challenge what we have been working on currently is maintaining data compliance, which isn't just protecting yourself legally. It is like every day we see that we have new regulation, and any breach on the regulation comes with a very hefty fines.
Fine.
And at the same time a big reputational damage to the company as well as to us
The
who
team.
are part of this. So this is one of the biggest challenge, and to overcome this, what we have been working is to build a robust data governance program wherein you have a strict policy who all are accessing this sensitive information, and these policies are strictly kind of enforced in the organization. So this is something which we have been working, and
Ongoing process.
yeah on.
Interesting. Great. Avik, you have been in the innovation side. So how have you been working with the cloud and mapping the right kind of strategies between innovation and the cloud per se? Any interesting perspective to share?
While we are talking about innovations, and innovations not in just terms of development of a product, but also in terms of innovations in business models, the way we partner with fintechs, we partner with neobanks and others. So here, and also on the when we come to the cloud front, that how today most of our data are slowly migrating to the cloud. Cloud, strategy wherein the data is also there in the cloud. We are giving access, but this is not. These are not getting updated real time. So as ideally the point was that as soon as a call goes, that number moves from the queue. But it's not moving for everyone. It's only moving for, say, one set of team. Naturally, the other guys see that it's still in queue. They keep on calling. So some of these challenges do come out from a business perspective. Also, while what we are now doing is that we are trying to first implement. So we have brought on board a chief data officer as well in the bank. So now the entire organization is working towards first mapping the right systems first that need to get synced at a cloud level.
Absolutely.
Second, we are working on mapping how the data should flow between these, because there are certain data which are common between all. And then we are thinking about the third front is how the cleanup will happen. And that has to be a periodic thing. So usually data cleanup is not happening at a regular interval. So data cleanup also has to happen at a regular interval. So keeping these three things in mind, we are approaching the problem in this way. There are some other initiatives also in the analytics and the data front in the cloud mapping that we have taken place, but I think we are still in the middle of implementation, and I think it will take a year more, or year and a half more for these to happen. So a lot of changes coming within the bank. We have set up digital factories. So digital factories are also, and enterprise factories are building in-house applications also. Because bank has realized that a lot of dependency happens upon vendor in certain cases, but for data specifically, while we are working with partners, we are also doing something in-house so that we have a complete access security. So SecOps is one of the ways that we are approaching in development of these applications in-house.
Interesting. Anshuman, we have heard a lot of insights from bankers, insurers, and NBFCs. In this world of cloud, how are organizations creating a cloud mapping strategy, or what should organizations do to ensure this availability of data, at the same time security of data in this era of cloud?
As cloud comes in, it definitely solves a lot of problems. It speeds up the transformation, quickens up the projects, but it brings its own set of challenges. I think there's no doubt about it. What we are seeing as a vendor, as somebody who's doing a lot of data management and data protection solutions, is with cloud coming in, there's an additional element of place or where now data is residing, right? That adds to the additional responsibility for the IT teams to protect that data. In cloud, it adds one more dimension. And what we have seen, and that's why I'll just take a minute for this, is there is a little bit of a confusion in the IT teams within organization is between availability and recoverability. The moment you go to cloud, I think cloud has done a fantastic job of taking away the problem of availability for the on-field IT guys, right? You don't have to think about clusters, you don't have to think about microservices availability, you don't have to think about RAID groups, etc., right? Disaster recovery, because that cloud has taken. They talk about 5, 9, 8, 9. You keep paying them and they keep increasing nines, right? That's the way it works. Recoverability is your responsibility. And I think that's an aspect which is important. The work that you are doing, something happens to that, recovering that, cloud vendor will not come back to you. So that adds to an additional responsibility for the customers to implement solutions which allow them to come back and stand on their feet in case something happen. And that something can be just anything. It can be corruption, it can be a failure of the system, data loss for some other reason, manual mistake, just anything. Or you want to, clouds are expensive, right? So you want to archive stuff. You want to archive your old data so that your costs are optimized. I think that additional aspect on cloud is what I would say is another super important element that gets added to the responsibility of the IT teams.
Interesting. So how are organization creating a seamless integration of data across the various platforms and channels today, and giving that unified experience? Any new realms of things that is happening in data there? Vinod, anything you would like to share?
That data, without data, we cannot do anything. So,
correct.
Data, main important factor is data quality. So, we cannot think about T-1 data. Now we have to think about real-time data only. So, I'll tell one example. There are a lot of challenges. Recently, government has come with one national portal. So, uniformity of data, sir was telling, uniformity of data is very important. So, there are different platform comes and the government introduced different platforms. But the data is not uniform. For example, if the customers select a city or a district, that district is not available in all the platforms available in the PSUs or insurance sector. That can be a spelling mistake will be there. The quality of the data has to be there. For that one, there should be a regulator. If there is no regulator for a fintech company, because we all depends upon the fintechs, clouds, everywhere the fintechs are there. The uniformity of the data has to be ensured by the government actually, so that we will be able to plug and play without any challenges. That is
interesting
important.
point.
So the same way, as you said, so we have different sources of data. Previously we were having only structured data. Now we are getting unstructured data and semi-structured data from different sources. like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. These all are coming to a single place. So previously it can be in the data warehouse. Now it is going to data lake. But whether we have the skill set for manage the data lake, because Impala has come, previously we are just using Oracle, just a developer, SQL developer. So here Impala is there, Spark is there, so we can do the multitasking. If it is a 2 day query, we can run it in 1 hour. That and all are possible. Whether we have skill set for that one, whether we are using the complete potential of the software available, these and all are challenges. And there are a lot of fintech companies offering good tools, but our PSUs are not using 20% of that one. So these are the challenges which I feel there should be a proper governance as well as policies, not only for the data usage, there should be policies for using of the different tools, monitoring tools, and this is my points.
Interesting. In Prasanna, you have been working with a lot of fintechs, and Vinodan has been speaking about the relationship with fintechs and enability of the banks to actually harness the potential of the fintechs to that kind of things. So when you work with fintech and you work with multitude of these data platforms, and when you onboard them, how do you de-risk yourself? Because you are a compliant organization, how are you trying to de-risk yourself, at the same time get the right kind of benefit out of these fintechs?
So primarily, when we look at a fintech or any of the collaboration, we look at who is a consumer. Ultimately, we are the consumers, and we have to take care of the customer who is using that fintech organization, right? So that's the responsibility which banks carry, being a regulated entity. There are a lot of norms everybody knows in the banking, how we have to take care of any of those partner alignment. So we have our own checklist, which it starts with the actual governance, IT governance, agreements, in the sense legal aspects, apart from technical aspects, where we lay down what is the business opportunity and how they are going to take care of our data out there, whatever time it is available on their platform during the transaction, and so on and so forth. So typically the journey starts with the API banking or opening up those APIs from the API platforms. So the overall alignment of APIs during the testing IT security stage before we go live, it will be adequately tested. Apart from that, it is a responsibility of IT security within organization of banks to do detailed audit. So it happens before going live, after going live, and sometimes it happens, depends upon partner to partner, with the help of external IT security partner, which is empaneled by RBI. Coming back, the external audit post go live, a continuous external audit will happen through partners every 6 months, wherein how data sharing, how is the integration, how the data is flowing from fintech to the bank, integration aspect, security of that integration. So that is all will taken care during this whole exercise. The beautiful part here is that data belongs to banks, rather data inherently belongs to customer itself, right? So RBI also takes care of all these integrations. So RBI is now coming up with a detailed framework for outsourcing, right, which will include cloud also. So this is a recent announcement. I think yesterday, today again they revisited that part. So that will take care of how are we going to align with the fintechs, and largely because these days what happens, fintech has its own data center, their own policies, and even bank has its own urgency, rather I would say, to onboard that fintech and get into that business. And then comes some issues. Say example, one of the bank has gone live with Google Pay or Phone Pay or somebody for FD, and they have to roll back that whole implementation because out of how and why, what is that business model. So it is not only technology, but what type of a business model you are doing with is very, very important. Today any bank has an opportunity to create their own fintech or partner with any fintech and create millions of customers out there. But how do we take care, the later part is very, very important for every bank. So as you spoken about, some of those new architectures are coming, account aggregator, maybe tomorrow PCR, and all these architectures will become backbone for all the customer journey.
Great, great. I think that was very, very deep insight. Kalyani, you have been into the business of analytics and things like that, and data availability is one of the most important things. How are you as an organization, or how is in your experience as organization trying to create a unified approach to this data to get a unified perspective to do the right kind of analytics that you require? Any interesting best practices you want to share on that?
I think we also have that data lake, and it is under implementation. So there are a lot of challenges, and all these challenges mostly come, as it was highlighted by other also, that the understanding of business, that the way they want the data today. So they don't trust the data which comes out of the the dashboard which is given to them. So, as somebody was, I think Amit sir was highlighting that, if earlier the data used to be like, there is a guy who is on the top, but when they produce their data, you would see that the ranking of the person is maybe in between or on the bottom. So recently we did, some kind of implementation, and we saw that we were almost 95% there. Hardly there was, 5%, I would say, that discrepancy in the data. But for that 5%, that kind of broke the, like business got that thing that, yeah, still this data is not correct. So that is the one thing which we have been working to be almost 100% there. And for that, we need to have, the connectivity with different places where data is located. So we have, again, we have been working with fintechs who are who are helping us with, kind of connecting all those data.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So great, thanks. Now Anshuman, there are lot of measures that organizations are taking care of providing the right kind of governance and privacies. How are organizations like yours working with financial services organization to ensure that there is that required amount of protection on one side, at the same time there is also availability of data to the right persons at the right time at the right moment and for the right amount of time? What is available today?
So that single view or treating the entire data as same, I think that's where Commvault has done a lot of work. So we've been there for a long time, about 25, 26 years now in the industry, and we are very focused on what we do is not on the real-time data, but data which is protected. So we spoke about GDPR, for example, as a very important requirement that suppose you have protected some data. And this is again part of the whole silo thing. So you have a live data where you have put some policies and you deleted the sensitive data, but that data has got backed up because it was backed up 2 years back or 3 years back, right? Actually, you're non-compliant if you don't look at that data, because technically you are having that data in your environment, right? That's it's actually a non-compliance. Nobody looks at it as a different problem, but if somebody goes deep into it, it's a non-compliance, right? So things around what we call it as sensitive data governance. So what is there in your environment, and looking everything as a single source. You tell them the parameters or certain keywords. The system can go and look at it and really give you a clean screenshot as to what's the PI that is sitting in your environment, or what's the sensitive data which is sitting in your environment. Again, the keyword would be the looking at data in entirety and not as silos. So that would be one thing I would say we do fairly well, and that are the conversations we are having with our customers. Again, same is applicable to very simple thing, email. Many times it gets ignored. It's a part of our daily life, but massive amount of data sits in emails, right? We share emails. We many times don't even think what we are attaching and sharing to the customer, to the other person. Certain policy control it, certain policies can't even control those things, right? So having a complete view of what's there sitting in your Office 365 environment or a Exchange environment, giving a dashboard to the administrators that hey, this is the situation, or this is the legal situation when it comes to your email stuff. Some old employee has left, data is sitting, you want to do a forensic on that, so those are the things we are talking a lot to our customers today in financial services. So a little, I would say, post facto, which is something which really lands people into trouble, may not be on a daily basis, but on a bad day, or another time when there is a compliance requirement or RBI comes to you, you need to go back. uh, I love to tell people that we give an ability to our customers to travel back in time, so we are all talking real time, right? Sonali, you spoke about everything has to be real time. What we talk is giving the special power or superpower to our customers to go back
Time
in time.
machine.
It's a time machine, which lets you go back and see what happened 2 years back, or 3 years back, or 3 months back, or whatever be the granularity.
Perfect. Vijay, any interesting perspectives from your side when it comes to a unified data strategy that organizations can look at, and what is today missing in that?
See, so every IT guy, guys will vouch. So we develop system for ages, right? So right from legacy system. So our existence in the past 27, 30 years. So we have couple of legacy systems. We have new age systems. So data is residing in a different form in different systems. So CRM solution, we are working on data lake. We have initiated data lake. From a fintech point of view, I want to tell just on a very lighter note, the way we used to get calls for credit cards or personal loans. Now you guys must be realizing that every day at least 10 call from any fintech company. It's like I am X.ai, Y.ai, and then I started keeping my Saturday for only seeing the demo, to just update myself and understand what is their offering. And it's very good because earlier we used to process one file of a car loan or a truck loan, physically seeing the ITRs, physically seeing the KYC documents. RCU will scan and they will actually act like like a police. So right now everything is actually the 3-4 days journey is now becoming a 3-minute journey with this fintech. It's a very good revolution, I can say, in the last 4-5 years. In fact, from 2000, in fact, the fintech revolution is actually shaking the market now. But we have to be very cautious also because number of fintechs is actually coming up, and regulatory is just started, so we don't know the visibility. So we need to really see what kind of data we are passing it to the fintech and how they are using it in the underground, in the background, how they are sharing the information on the data governance and everything.
Great. Panda Sahab, anything you want to share out of your experience from this entire thing before we call it a day today?
As you know, being a legacy bank, having data in various silos, multiple applications, they were capturing the data of the customer. Same customer might have different data. As Avik was also saying, one customer might have multiple sets of data. So those data remaining in different systems and bringing together, whether it is data warehouse or data lake, the cleaning is a big task. So we have introduced a concept of SSOT, that is single source of truth. So that means every data has been mapped, that if it is present in multiple systems, which one is considered as a single source of truth. So that's why this SSOT has been mapped in our data mart. So data mart actually captures only the single source of truth, which is then populated for the downstream users and for the reporting purpose to the regulators. So that way the things are mapped, but still it is in progress also. Thank you.
Great. Avik, you were speaking something.
Continuing on Panda sir's conversation, that how fintechs So we have almost 17 departments in the bank come together while evaluating one fintech.
Wow.
17 departments. So risk, compliance, legal, operations, these are common. InfoSec, IT, business solutions group. So these are the common groups. Then you have finance and FinCon. So these two departments actually evaluate their business viability.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think that is why we need a dedicated department who takes care of a interface for bank or NBFC organization. And typically it is done by some of those innovation officers or digital officers or fintech officers. So I think that's how every bank will evolve and create one unit, which will, because for any project also there are 17 departments. Right, so it's not only fintech. For other projects also, there are QA, UAT.
Yeah, but this is a special project that we have taken, and we had formed a committee that this committee will evaluate all fintechs. That's how it's going right now.
No, it makes sense. Manoj, you were making some point.
Yeah, since Babu said this is coming to the conclusion, I thought I'll add one thing. I had a conversation recently with my brother-in-law. He works at Bank of America in IT. And the project he's working on is data lineage. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with the term. And he was explaining how complex it really is. I mean, you really have to start thinking out of the box. And it's becoming a compliance thing. It's not something that's an optional thing. You have to be able to explain the history of the data. And all of us engineers are not people who love history. Including myself personally, we found history to be a pretty boring subject. But to be able to, bring in all those things that are outside your curriculum. So the whole thing I'm saying is data and IT is going outside your traditional curriculum that you have grown up and been educated, whether it's MBA, finance or IT or whatever kind of educational background you have. I think it's going to be a tough learning journey for all people in this kind of role as you go ahead, because the regulators are not going to say that, okay, you stick to finance or you stick only to IT or whatever it is. They're going to look at all kinds of risks. That's why the title of this, de-risking. De-risking is not very siloed, it is very generic. And so that was one new topic, data lineage. I think that's.
So I just want to add this perspective of data lineage. I was having this debate with my CEO in the beginning of the week on data lineage and how does it impact. So data lineage is nothing else but the progeny of data. Like we have our ancestors, Gotra kaun sa hai wo. So data lineage relates to that, which Gotra data this has come. And actually we analyzed the same data which was lying in the same source system, but the moment you change the lineage of data, so when we say lineage of data means data coming from a core banking or a core policy admin system to a CRM, to a ODS, to a dashboard, as against the same data directly coming to a dashboard. The complete interpretation of this data and the complete representation of this data or the complete insight of that data changes. So, and as you rightly pointed out, in the latest draft bill, which is all around data bill. So while globally we have the GDPR, and GDPR is actually a very serious thing because we do handle a lot of global data for the European and the US segment. The penalties get defined not in lakhs and crores, but the penalty definition in the GDPR framework is the turnover of the company into 10x, which means one data breach, and it's not worth in 1 crore or 2 crore, your company's turnover into 10 times is what you have to pay. Similarly, from an Indian context perspective, and that data draft bill is still in the upper house for a debate, and the expectation is probably by 2023 it will get released. It has a specific section on data lineage, which means we don't even have to protect the data. We have to ensure that the data lineage is maintained. And as you rightly pointed out, when a data audit will happen, the data officer of the organization or the tech officer of the organization has to actually explain to the regulator the complete data lineage. Ki how did this data come in case of a breach? So it is a very important topic, and what your brother-in-law expressed is actually very critical from an India context perspective.
Bringing history and science together. Thank you very much everyone for a wonderful sharing, and we look forward to more such interesting sharings. Great. Thank you very much.